You also speak about your experience with miscarriage. In between this one and my first, I had a miscarriage too. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, I know, but the same thing is, it's like 1 in 4.
Yeah.
And it's doesn't make it any easier that there's more of us, that you know, that so many of us go through it. But we still don't talk about it very much. But as soon as you have that conversation, like,
it opens it up.
And so many people are like, yeah, that happened to me, and you know, and it makes you feel more connected.
Yeah. And also you recognize, again, it's not something that's wrong with you.
No.
And this is it's really interesting how that same issue keeps coming up. There's a sense of like, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? Right?
Yeah.
When it comes to miscarriage and sexual assault and any of these other issues that are really difficult emotional issues, there's unfortunately a tendency to kind of wear it really heavily, like, oh, if I'd only done this, or if I was, you know.
Yeah.
And the fact that we don't talk about these issues very publicly, very often, it's not part of the way we talk about pregnancy, for instance. It doesn't prepare people very well for, you know, if they're in the circumstance where that's going to happen to them. They're not very well prepared for it, but also the people around them aren't very well prepared to support them. And you can get really, you know, odd and unhelpful comments from people who don't mean it maliciously, but really don't know what to say. They don't have a narrative or dialogue or language, I guess, to use to say, look, I'm really sorry you had that experience. Are you okay? Is there anything I can do? The toxic silence around miscarriage is also what leads to the hiding of early pregnancy, which for many women can be the toughest time of pregnancy. There might be morning sickness, nausea, you know, all of these different issues, even fainting in some cases. But they're trying to cover it up because if they let anyone know they're pregnant, they might have to also say, well, I miscarried.
Yeah, you're right. I haven't thought, because it's just, we're socialised to wait until the 12 weeks.
That's right. But why do we do that?
Yeah.
We don't talk about why. And the reason is simply that the rate of miscarriage is so much lower after the first trimester. So that first trimester is when the rate of miscarriage is much higher, the risk is much higher. That is why we don't talk about pregnancy.
It should be something that we feel we can share.
Yeah, if you choose to. Again, it's going to be up to the individual what they want to do. But the result of this taboo around miscarriage is that we have a taboo around early pregnancy that leads women, for instance, even in the workplace or amongst their friends, to try to cover up swelling bodies, to try to cover up the fact that they've just, you know, vomited, or they feel really sick and nauseous, and they can't tell anyone, and they can't tell them why, and they don't get support. And that is, you know, making people suffer in silence, and it's unnecessary in my view.
You said something which I found really beautiful, and just nailed it, saying that miscarrying took your innocence of being pregnant away. Yeah,
the innocence around pregnancy. I mean, for a lot of us, of course, you spend part of your life trying not to be pregnant until you're ready for the moment when you want to, you know, and then you imagine it will just happen, and you imagine, for a lot of us anyway, we imagine we'll just get pregnant when we want to, and what happens is you get pregnant and you have a child. And of course, sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes there's a pregnancy and there's no child. And I wish that wasn't the case, but that is the case for many people. And for some people, even a woman I met last night at a book launch, you know, at the book signing that I was doing. She'd had 7 miscarriages before her, beautiful little girl. And you know, how tough that was on her and her partner. The fact that she can't talk about that as openly with people as she'd like, it makes other people uncomfortable. There are so many of these stories. And I'd like to believe that we can get to a stage where it's socially okay to talk about it. That's not a brave thing to do, it's just a normal thing to do. And we can therefore support one another each time it happens, if it happens to people.